Hey, good morning, guys. Yesterday I did the video on the postcards, and because my battery was dying, I just ended it without showing you how I cut them up and put the final touches on it. So really quick this morning, I've got my cutter out, which is the Martha Stewart cutter, and I'm going to cut this into postcards. So this little flap, we need to trim him off. So we can have, I don't really like the flappy do thing on my postcards, so without getting it hooked up in the camera stuff here. Oh, well, that just shook you guys around there a little bit. Alright, so now we've got the little flappy thing off, and that's going to mean that our sheet is going to be 11 and a half by almost 8 inches. Okay, so in order for the United States Postal Service to charge you postcard rates, we're gonna cut this. Okay, we're gonna cut this in half, and I think I'm gonna cut it this way. I like that orientation well, so I'm gonna cut this one forward. Okay. And then I'm going to cut it this way. I'm trying to keep everything in frame and not touch the camera setup here. So if it's 11 and a half, that means it should be 5 and a half. No, that would make it 11. Okay, so we're going to go about right here. Alright, so now you have 2 postcards. And this one. So it's going to make 4 postcards. Alright. Move the cutter out of the way. You got your coffee this morning? I do. I'm just waking up. I couldn't even sleep. I had so many ideas running through my head this morning. Okay, so let me show you. This is what I do here. Is I take, and let's say, okay, so I'm pretty happy with the orientation and how this one looks. So what I usually do is I have sewn around the edges before, and you can do that and it makes a really good border, or I will make like just little sketchy lines, kind of just bordering that out. And then what I will say is, depending on what you've collaged, I can feel that this right here had a little air bubble in it, so that's not a problem at all. It gives us a great opportunity to go back. Well, if I could find a glue stick this morning. Alright, let's grab Mr. Elmer's here. And my dog is whining in the background because she wants to go out. And I'm just going to tear this because I can piece it back together. And now it seals back fine. Okay, so then I just go back with the little doodlies. Don't y'all love how I create words and just come up with stuff? Alright, so this is a postcard ready to send. Now, before we can send it, we need to make it where we can address it. Now, I've done this 2 ways. I've gessoed the entire back and used that, which is absolutely okay. Or, I've taken a scrap piece of paper. Oh, bless her heart. Sadie, I'm hurrying. Give me 1 second, little lady. She's really not little. She's 125 pounds and she's 10 months old. And then I just smash that down. Alright, I'm going to have to go take her out. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I glued this down. And now if you flip it over, we're just going to trim along that as a guide. You could take your paper cutter and do this, but just for the sake of time, I'm just going to trim it with these scissors. So here's the front, here's the back. Put that address right there, slap you some postage on there, and send it off to somebody. So I hope this showed you the remaining steps of how to do the postcards. Like I say, you have 4. One other thing that I'll show you is what I determined to come up with these little flaps is I cut them apart. I cut it into strips and then I sewed it. You see? I come up with a zigzag stitch. Now how I did that was I glued them onto the paper so that it had a surface that it would hold to, and then I just went with my sewing machine and stitched it up. So I thought it would give you a cool address line place back here too. So I thought that was pretty neat, and a good way to use these is to make a really cool postcard. So I hope this has showed you something this morning. I hope you enjoy your morning and your coffee, and you guys check back with me. Thanks a lot.